Okay guys, welcome back. Last week we looked at page layout and the print process. This week, after gathering all our images and text, we are going to create a double page spread. I'm going to attempt to do it in just this one session. So here are the images that I gathered and the text. Basically, I'm going to use an interview. I've saved it as a Word document and as a basic text document, just so I've got two versions. Okay, and also the image that I chose, I have saved as a cutout PSD as well as the original with the background. Okay, that gives me two options. So let's go straight into InDesign. So we'll go File, New Document, and we want to do an A4 double page spread. So that is 210 by 297. Okay, so we'll pick that one. So we're going to say 2 pages, facing pages, and we're not going to start with page 1 because that's always the front cover. So let's start page 2. Okay, and here I'm going to go 5 columns. That is kind of the standard for most newspapers and magazines. If you remember, if we go back to our original slide, these are the design principles. We've got alignment where we use guides and columns. We're going to use these principles in designing our double page spread. Okay, so there we have the 2 pages next to each other as a spread with the 5 columns. What I want to do next is import the text. So I'm going to click this text icon here, create a box, go File, Place, or Control D. Okay, so I'm going to find that document. Assets. So I'm going to go for the text file. There we have the text coming in. Okay, so what we want to do is actually add some columns into this. Okay, so if you scroll to the bottom of your properties bar, you'll see text frames here. So I'm going to go for 2 columns. Okay, also if you look here, the text carries on. It doesn't all fit in this box. If you click this plus sign, you can continue it onto the next page. Okay, and then we'll make this 2 columns as well, and that should be all your text. I'm going to format it though now, so I'm going to select all the text, and I'm going to go for, what should we go for? Let's go for Arial, keep it simple. Arial standard, if we can find that. Arial regular, and I'm going to go for 9 points. That's the standard for most magazines, actually, in newspapers. 9 points. There we go. That's all the text. Now, I want to go back to our design principles, and I'm going to implement space. I want a bit of space in my design. Okay, so it looks a little bit nicer. So let's go back to here, and one way of doing that is to take your columns and not use all the columns up. So I'm going to create some space here in the middle. Okay, so remember to use your guides, keep everything nice and clean. So that is the first of the basic layout that I'm going to be using. We can fix all that up later. I'm thinking I'll use the cutout image of Segala in this space here. So I'm going to click on this rectangle frame tool here, put that over there, and I'm going to go File, Place again, and I'm going to bring in the PSD image of Segala. There we go. Now the image is actually bigger than the frame I've created, as you can see. So what I'm going to do here, see, I want the image to go right to the edge of the page actually. What I'm going to do here is go right click on my mouse, go to fitting, fit content proportionally. There we go. Now if you want him to be slightly bigger, you just make your frame wider and go through that process again. Fitting, fit content proportionally. There we go. That's about right. We've brought our image in. As you can see, it sits on top of the text and the text is running behind the image. What we would like to do is add a text wrap around this image so it flows nicely against it. We can do that by going to Window, Text Wrap, to open up the text wrap section. Click on the image, add the third one along, which is Wrap Around Object Shape. Make sure Detect Edges is selected. Bounding box will wrap against the box of the image. Detect Edges will wrap against the edge of the Photoshop transparency that we've added. Okay. So as you can see here though, there's a bit of text that flows in this gap between the arm and his hip. So we can easily fix that by just grabbing another text box, any box actually, we'll go for the rectangle frame tool, put that over the top of that and bring that back and add the second one, which is wrap around bounding box. That just sorts that problem out. There you go. So next we'll go for the heading. So I'm just going to copy this for now. Interview Sagala. I want something a bit more than that. So even though you edited your text earlier, you always edit on the page as well. You know, the editing process doesn't stop with your Word document. You edit on the fly as well. This is what sub-editors would do. So that fits kind of nicely. So I'll use that for now. Okay, so that's our heading. We then need a subheading. A subheading is the one that goes underneath an a headline and above the main story. Okay, Americans tend to call subheads kickers or stand firsts or decks. I'm going to stick with the British subheading because that's what we are. So again, here I am sub-editing on the fly. Let's make that impact as well, actually. Increase the font size. The subheading is always smaller than the heading, but bigger than the main text, obviously. So we'll go with that for now, because that actually fits nicely, that sort of curve along his shoulder. Brilliant. So let's stick with that. Next we'll go to the text and start editing that. Let's go close up. So here you have your byline. It's called the byline because it tells you who the article's by. So this is the byline. I think I'm going to go bold with that one. And I'm going to put an underline just to mix it up a bit. Okay, so now I would like to add a drop cap on my first paragraph. Okay, so let's click anywhere in this first paragraph and I will go over here to paragraph styles and I'll create a new one. Okay, let's call that drop cap. If we go over to here, we can edit that style. So let's have a look. Go to drop caps and I'm going to add a 3-line drop cap. You can see here how it changes. If you hit preview button here, you can actually do a live preview. Actually, I might go 4 columns, okay? And I might change that font as well to impact. That'll be a bit more. Do I change that whole thing to impact? No, I don't like the look of that. So let's go back to here. Let's just change that one character. New character style. So this will be the drop caps character style. Let's go impact with that one. Preview. There. Quite like that. In fact, let's just change the color to a different color there. Let's go for this red because he's got this nice blue jacket on. Let's go complementary. Now let's look how our thing looks so far. There we go. It's building up nicely. Over here we have the preview button, so we can see what it looks like so far. Not bad. Let's put our grid back on and carry on. The next thing I would like to add is formatting to this text. So it's an interview. I would like to put all the questions as bold. So we can go ahead and do that. The other thing you can do is actually select. We're almost there. Okay. There's some questions that I'm going to cut out actually. I don't want them all. So let's get rid of all of these. And at the bottom here, I've got some facts or information. So as you can see, let's just make this a bit bigger. So we've got some tour dates here. I'm going to put those into a call out box. I'm going to cut those out. Bring this up a bit. And I'm going to put those into a separate box. So let's create a nice little box. Let's go with that red again. Keep the theme going. I might put a tint on that one. Okay. And I might actually put a heading there. The same red, but without the tint. Paste that text back in. Full UK tour, make that a headline. Call out boxes are quite useful actually. They give you some, they break up the text and it basically acts as an infographic, so it's really useful. So I'm going to make that text white. Can go a bit bigger with that. Let's see the preview. That's a bit better, isn't it? So it's getting there. The other thing I would like to add is a pull quote. Now, a pull quote is a piece of text taken out and made into a graphic. So over here he says something really cool about Norwich. I love my home crowd, I love Norwich, and every time I go back it just feels like home for me. That is really cool. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to copy it and paste it over here. Let's keep that Arial font, I think. Make it a lot bigger. And instead of using the normal quote, I am going to create a separate box here, put the quote in there, make that Arial again. Let's make that really big, or as big as we can. Hold on, you have to make the box even bigger or else it disappears. Okay, now what I'm going to do with this is go to Type, Create Outline. What it does, it converts it into a vector image. Now let's change that to that red as well. And I'm going to put that there. Make a copy of it. Revolve it round. And put the second one there. That's looking better already. Let's go a little bit smaller with that, and let's center that. Okay, looking good. What else can we do to this? I think I'm going to add a line across here as a graphic as well. Make that red. That's a 1-point line. Let's look at the preview. Yeah, I like that. And then put 3.1 here. So change the stroke over here to 3 points. And that kind of sort of frames that nicely. Let's bring this over. Now, as you can see, the text has gone over that. So what we need to do is go back to our text wrap, which is here, and add that to it. And then we can change how much text wrap happens above and on the sides and below. Here we go. Perfect. How's that looking? Now there's a bit of space here because I did cut out quite a bit of stuff, so a bit of the text. So what I'm going to do is add another element here. These are called crossheads. Americans call these subheads. So this is where he talks about Norwich. So I'm going to put that there. Center that. Make that bold. It's just a little bit of a. It's sort of the crosshead gives you a little bit of information about the upcoming paragraph. Like I said, yeah, Americans call it the subhead. This is the subhead in English, just below the heading. So what we'll do with that is go underline, make that a little bit bigger. Brilliant, that works for me. And what I might do is, because we have got a lot of space here, is bring this right down to actually create some space. I could, in theory, make the subhead in 3 decks. What I might actually do is forget all this and just write Sigala, keep it nice and simple. There we go. Bring this right down so that the text ends there. And there we have a double page spread. Next week we will look at making the process even easier using paragraph styles and libraries. Brilliant. Thank you very much. What I would like you to do is carry on with your double page spread. Use the shared folder to share any PDFs of your final outcomes, and we'll review them together. Thank you. Bye.